People often think they know who I am, but no one has seen what I've had to go through. I didn't come into sex work because life was easy. I came because I needed to survive and to claim a choice that was taken from me. All I want is for my work not to make me a target, for people to listen instead of shaming me, for them to ask what I need instead of telling me who I'm supposed to be. I've lived through moments when I was threatened, when the police ignored me, when people thought they could do anything to me. And all of that happened simply because my work is seen as wrong. But my work is work. I take care of myself, my safety, my life, and I want to be seen not as a stereotype, but as a human being, a person who deserves respect and the right to life without fear.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Buen día, yo soy Diana García, soy mexicana, vivo en Barcelona desde hace un año y bueno, yo quiero que el mundo sepa que el trabajo sexual debe de ser reconocido mundialmente, ya que es una profesión, un oficio en el cual a nosotras nos gusta ejercerlo bajo todas las circunstancias y debemos de ser reconocidas mundialmente bajo todas las protecciones que cualquier trabajador tiene derecho. Entonces, queremos que de verdad nos hagan caso, que las autoridades también nos tomen en cuenta para poder tener un pleno desarrollo ejerciendo el trabajo sexual, ya que es como cualquier trabajo. Sí, nosotras invertimos tiempo, invertimos nuestro esfuerzo, entonces queremos que se nos reconozca como tal.
It took them 2,000 years to realize that the cops had no long-term effect on us, only for them to eventually attack our clients, because unlike us, they're still afraid and ashamed. What you didn't understand is that they will be willing to take any risk to keep seeing us, because we know how to attract them despite your laws, because we sell much more than sex. It's the loneliness that the system produces that makes us so needed. You know, all those small trades they're making disappear, they're not taxed well enough, and they're noisy, visible, and public, and they cause the neighborhood to lose property value. Either we accept strict supervision, for instance in brothels, or they pass laws to make us pay fines, taxes, and social security contributions. Because yes, the system is perverse enough to create a self-employed status where we have to pay for everything under penalty of undeclared work, even when your work isn't officially recognized as work. We won't even receive social protection with specific laws that claim to be protective, but that will deprive us of basic human rights like the right to housing or the right to health and safety. The fight against sex work is not a fight against exploitation. It's a fight for sexual morality that essentially aims to separate us from the rest of the working class.
I wish the world knew that sex workers are just people. We are next to you at the queue at the supermarket. We bring our children to school. We hang with our friends and have favorite TV shows and songs. For me, sex work is very interesting because it's connected to how we think about sexuality and work and gender dynamics, immigration, and more. So I wish that people would be curious about it, about our experiences, before passing judgment or seeing us as only victims. And curious not as fascinated by something taboo and transgressive, but curious as open-hearted and open-minded. And finally, I wish that the world knew that we sex workers, many of us think a lot about our work, and we have organizations, we make art, we write articles and books. So if you want to know what we would need to feel safer and less stigmatized, just ask us. And thank you so much for being here and listening to us today.
Okay, I only have 1 minute. Honestly, for me, what I would love the world to know about sex work, prostitution, fucking for money, is that it's triggering. It's a triggering subject. When we talk about it, there is a lot of things that are coming up. And there are like people who are like really against prostitution and people who are really like, it's a work that we need rights. And between all of them, it's very difficult to have a communication that is something else than insults. or something else than you're just a monster. And for me, this represents a collective opportunity, an opportunity for us to work on our communication. Because regarding the world where we live in, it's desperately needed. So today, if we can work on our communication about fucking for money, which is a very triggering subject, we can inspire the world to move towards a better future.
And so having a bad day at work and expressing that outwardly is basically condemning ourselves to more stigma and criminalization. Whereas if we have a good day at work, we express that and how perhaps doing sex work and being able to survive within capitalism, feed ourselves, house ourselves. When we express that, everybody goes, oh, they're fine. They don't need more rights. They're fine with the rights that they have at the moment. But we don't have any rights.
Hola, mi nombre es Betelana Ramírez, soy una mujer trans, trabajadora o comercializadora del sexo, ¿vale? Esta es una opción que siempre hemos tenido las mujeres trans por falta de oportunidades en las entidades del Estado o en las instituciones del Estado, ya que los estados nos cierran las oportunidades para acceder a un empleo, ¿vale? Acceder a una vida digna. Y a nosotras las mujeres trans no nos queda otra opción que dedicarnos a lo que es el comercio sexual, ya que no tenemos otra forma de sobrevivir, ya que a través del comercio sexual es la única forma que tenemos para sobrevivir y salir adelante de nuestras necesidades que tenemos.
Hi, I'm Silly, and I'm from Poland. I'm part of Collective Camellia. And what I would like people to know about sex work is that it saved my life at a time when I had no hope and no one else, not even my closest family, wanted to help me. Thanks to sex work and the sex worker community, I survived the hardest moments of my life. My self-esteem rose by several levels, and I stopped measuring my worth based on whether men found me attractive. It gave me courage, and I began to respect myself more in relationship with men. This work is not for everyone, but for me, it was perfect because, baby, this throat is worth millions. And just like other workers, we deserve equal labor rights. We deserve health and safety. And if whorephobes truly cared about our safety, that's what they would be fighting for. I want to say firmly that we need decriminalization and destigmatization of sex work worldwide. And I want to say, fund whores, not worse. Thank you.
Here's what I wish people knew. It's about work. It's not about sex. Calm the fuck down about the sex. Just because you couldn't do it and be sane doesn't mean no one can do it. I couldn't be an accountant and be sane. So if you couldn't do my job, that's fine, honey. To each their own. But we do exist, and it's my work. So calm the fuck down about the sex and just imagine that you had to fight for your right to be an accountant. Imagine how tired you would be. That's how tired I am. I don't cover the circles under my eyes anymore because I'm so tired of trying to explain to people it is work. It is my work. It is my livelihood. It is my career. It is work. It is not so much about the sex. Calm the fuck down about the sex.
Hi everyone, I'm David. I am Brock. We are from Barcelona. We are both sex workers. Also, we are LGBTQ activists, and also we are happily married. and we want to explain the world that the male sex work exists.
Firsthand, there are some situations where people who don't want to understand our reality or don't want our voices to be heard, they use the invisibilization of male sex workers to invalidate women sex workers experiences. So I think that our presence is useful to show the world that it doesn't matter on the gender, it doesn't matter on the orientation. We are sex workers. Some of us want to be sex workers, and the most important thing is that we can help each other. It doesn't matter on our situation. We can share experiences and resources, and try to be happy at the end.
Hello everyone, my name is Edie and I've been a stripper for the past 8 years. What I would like people to know about sex work is that our industry doesn't exist in a vacuum. Our industry presents some problems, that's for sure, but when people tell me, oh, your customers are creepy, they're sexist, your managers exploit you, I'm always answering that these people are coming from outside. They are your fathers, your uncles, your brothers, your friends. And if this problem persists in our industry, it's because they are bigger societal issues that have to be tackled. Of course, sexism exists in our industry and so does exploitative management, but we need better laws and we need to solve sexism in society. And if we do this first, then the conditions in our industry are going to improve as well. But these are not problems that are inherent in our industry.
Hola, mi nombre es Valentina y quiero hablarles sobre la importancia del trabajo sexual y el respeto hacia nosotras. Nosotras, las personas trans, las mujeres trans, migramos a países como Europa, ya de países que no saben al respecto y que no tienen concientización, porque nosotros también somos personas, porque sentimos, porque también necesitamos progresar en todo aspecto. Es por esa razón que yo pido a la Unión Europea y a quien corresponda a que nos apoyen, ya, a que se nos proteja, ya, a que la gente de los lugares alejados tome más conciencia por el trabajo sexual. Porque sí, solo así podremos coexistir con respeto entre nosotros.